Greetings, peers and queers. Welcome back to another episode of Monday through Friday. We're going to do another witchy tips today. The last video that I did, the first video that I did for witchy tips, I discussed how to communicate with spirits and ghosts. A link to that video will be down in the descriptions below. In this video, I thought we would do something a little bit more practical. We'd talk a little bit about intention and spell work. We'd also talk about practical witchcraft, practical everyday witchcraft. And also, why not? You're here for this, obviously. Give you a few spells to work with. Figured, hey, not everything is about spiritual practice or study. Sometimes you just need to know a few spells. So we're going to try to do that for you in this episode. But before we get started, let me paint a picture for you. Let me paint a scene. The year of 2013. It's 2013, and I've just stepped inside of an apothecary shop when, what did I see amongst their literature? But this grimoire of spells staring back at me. How perfect is this, I thought. And immediately I picked it up and I knew that there was information and power inside. Let me share that with you now. This is that book. 10,001 Easy Solutions to Everyday Problems. The book was written by Jeanne Bosselina Lubin and her husband Bruce Lubin. Now, why would I be showing this book? So it was 2013. The apothecary shop, which was actually a Walgreens. And yeah, I said it was a grimoire. I said it was a book of spells. And it kind of is, because opening it, they have like a whole bunch of different really neat information in it. One of their first things that I want to draw attention to here, on the contents page, part 1 is Who Knew Heroes. They talk about vinegar, they talk about baking soda, they talk about lemon, they talk about salt. All right? You can do a lot with just a few basic ingredients. All right? This is everything from how to get rough stains out of clothing, which I feel everybody should know, to like how to repair minor household issues, how to repair a leaky sink, that sort of thing. Witchcraft is not always just turning your enemy into a toad. All right? Witchcraft is not always dancing naked, dancing skyclad under the moonlight. Although that is very fun and it is a part of witchcraft, sometimes witchcraft is just having your wits about you. Sometimes witchcraft is just knowing what to do in a certain situation, having a working knowledge of how to interact with people, how to help people, how to mend things, and how to treat things. For instance, a few years ago, I was sitting down playing a board game with both my mother and my niece bit her tongue. My niece bit her tongue and she was crying. She's like, ow, it hurts, Grandma, it hurts. My mom, her grandmother, was like, oh, I'm sorry, baby. I don't know really how to help you. And I'm like, I know how to help you. And they're like, what? I went into the kitchen. I got a spoon and I got a shaker of sugar, like for coffee in the morning. I put some sugar into the spoon. I said, let the sugar sit on your tongue where you bit it and let it dissolve. She did. My mom is giving me kind of skeptic looks like, are you sure you know what you're doing? And I'm like, trust me, I know this one. My niece is like, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore. Thank you. The pain went away. The owie went away. I'm like, there you go. My mom's like, how did you know that? And I'm like, it's just a little tip that I picked up here and there. A lot of these old wives' tales, a lot of these home remedies that have been handed down through generation and generation, we write off because we live in a society where it's like you go to the doctor writes a script, then you go to Walgreens or you go to your pharmacy and you take the magic pill and you're good. Before we had apothecaries like a Walgreens or a Walmart, before we had all those pharmacies and stuff, who do you think it was that was taking care of society? Who do you think it was that was taking care of the community? Yes, you go back far enough, you will have the traveling doctor who went around household to household and tried their best to fix people with castor oil. But before that, you had midwives. You had nurses, wet nurses. You had witches. You had wise women who knew how to take care of themselves, knew how to take care of the people around them and the community in total. There are different types of witches out there. You may closely identify with a kitchen witch, somebody who does a lot of magic when it comes to preparing meals. It's one thing to take a can of pre-made chicken soup, throw it into a pot, and warm it up. It's another thing to put that pre-made chicken soup into a pot, add just the right herbs and spices to it, stir it, sing or hum while you're thinking about how much this is going to help the person who has the cold or the flu right now. I'm making them a chicken soup that is going to be hearty, and it's going to help them beat this battle, and they're going to be healthy again. That's a kitchen witch. Somebody who bakes their own bread, but instead of just following the directions as is, really thinks about the process or thinks about the person that they're going to gift this to. That is a kitchen witch. Likewise, there's garden witches. Somebody just plants a few seeds, waters them, and gives them some fertilizer. Okay, cool. You're a gardener. Congratulations. But somebody who talks to their plants, pays attention to what animals and insects are in and around their plants, tries to bring in the animals and insects that they find beneficial and expel the animals and insects that they find harmful without using pesticides. That might be a garden witch. Somebody who buries a fish underneath their tomato plants so that they have just the right amount of nutrients going to that tomato that they're later going to can or turn into a sauce. That might be a kitchen witch without even knowing it. A big portion of this is intent. What you intend an outcome to be. It is very good to have a working knowledge and a working collection of hey, if I use my discarded tea bags from my morning or afternoon tea to polish the wooden furniture in my home and get them to glow a little bit brighter, that's an interesting working knowledge type thing. But you also need to be aware of intent and what intent you are broadcasting out into the universe. So I basically would break down witchcraft into a few different separate parts that all come together to create a whole. One of these aspects would be a working knowledge of different substances and how they interact in the natural world. If you mix baking soda and vinegar, you're going to get a little bit of a foamy mess. If you use salt in a pot that has burnt food on the bottom of it, and you use that coarse salt to scratch away the burn marks, yeah, it's going to be a little bit easier getting that tough burned on food off of your metal pots. Different things like that, having a working knowledge of what substances interact with what and how. Knowing that you should use these plants as a poultice, or knowing that putting this on a burn will help alleviate the pain. That sort of thing. That's witchcraft. Another part of witchcraft would be the metaphysical aspect. If you were to plant seeds in a garden, you would want to do so during the new moon, because the new moon is the starting point for any intention that you have. Starting a project or beginning to grow plants or beginning a task or a work on the new moon, you're basically drawing on the energies present in the lunar cycle to assist you in your magical practice. The new moon is a time of new beginnings. It is the beginning of another lunar cycle. And as that moon begins to wax and become more fully itself, you are drawing in the energies around you to help bolster, to help boost your magic. In a similar token, if you're wanting to break a bad habit, end a cycle, move on from a hurtful love, you would want to begin your practice on the full moon. Not boom, boom, right at the beginning of the full moon, but just after the moon is full. Because the moon, from that point on, will start to grow smaller and smaller and smaller until it eventually becomes a new moon or a no moon again. That way, you're working with forces that are dwindling, forces that are getting smaller and are becoming less visible and almost non-existent. That ties in with the last part of witchcraft, which is intention. Intention is the biggest part of witchcraft. Intention is the number one biggest thing when it comes to witchcraft, I have found in my own practice. If you intend for an outcome to happen, and you're flexible enough with not having it stringently, it's got to be exactly this way, but if you give that intention, that final outcome, a little bit of wiggle room, I'm like, okay, as long as it's within these parameters, or this is the general sense of what I'm wanting to manifest, what I'm wanting to create, you will find that your power as a witch becomes so much more potent. If you concentrate on something long enough, or for enough days in a row, you can actually bring that thing into your life. Or you can bring that thing into somebody else's life. Say that you have a friend who's down and out and you're wanting something nice for them. Just be like, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers is great as long as you're actually thinking and as long as you're actually praying. You have to do the work for thoughts and prayers to work. Otherwise, it's just so much empty words. The real strength in thoughts and prayers is actually thinking about what you want to happen and actually praying for that to happen. A prayer is a spell. A wish is a spell. What do I mean by that? Well, spells do get their title. They do get the functioning title of the word spell from the fact that you can use different spellings of a word in order to achieve different things. For instance, the word abracadabra was originally used as a charm. It was created into a totem that would go around somebody's neck that would ward off evil or bad luck. Much like the evil eye amulet is supposed to reflect jealousy and envy. Abracadabra itself is a word that's supposed to expel bad luck, expel bad vibes and harmful intentions. So you will see often on my social media, I will use the word abracadabra. I'm not doing it to be cute. I'm doing it to protect my intentions. And you can do that too. Use the word abracadabra whenever you're wanting to like lock something in. Whenever you're like, this is what I want. I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't want this to turn into some bizarro version of what it is that I'm anticipating. Abracadabra. Protect this intention. You can also use the phrase, so mote it be. For Wiccans, for people who practice Wicca, such as myself, keep in mind that a Wiccan is not a witch and a witch is not a Wiccan. They can sometimes be both, but they are not interchangeable, all right? Wicca is a religion. Witchcraft is a modality of achieving the things that you need to achieve and working with elements, working with forces to create something greater. One is a craft, the other one is a religion. But a common phrase that we use in Wicca is, so mote it be. When we are ending a ritual or we are setting an intention, we will end it with not the words amen, like you would in some of the Abrahamic religions. We use the phrase, so mote it be, thus let it be. I will often use that sometimes in my spell work and my craft work to end things, especially when I'm creating my intentions for the next lunar cycle. Every new moon, I write down 1 to 3 things that I'm trying to work on or goals that I'm trying to achieve. And then I ask the energies around me, my spirit guides and the goddess, to help bring those things to me. Help me to find abundance. Help me to find a partner who is right for me, that sort of thing. And then I will write those intentions down on a piece of paper, ask thanks, say that these are gifts that I am willing to receive, so mote it be. Then I will put that piece of paper, I'll fold it up, and I'll put it on my altar along with my offerings. Or I will go ahead, I will write it down in a journal that I keep separately. And periodically through the moon, through the month, I will go ahead, I will open it up and I will like review, see how I'm doing on accomplishing those goals or manifesting those needs. Then at the next new moon, I go ahead, I take that folded piece of paper, or I take that sheet in that journal and I tear it out. I read it one more time, or I really think about it. I light it on fire, and then I scatter it to the wind. Or I will go to a bridge, I will light it on fire, and I will let the ashes fall into a river. Especially if it's like letting go of trauma or hardship or heartbreak. I will definitely work with water because water is associated with emotions. I will go to a creek or I will go to a river. I will make sure that I'm safe on the bridge and not in harm's way of getting hit by a vehicle or attacked by an assailant. And then I will think about the intentions that I had written the moon before. I will take a lighter or matches, depending on the wind. I will burn that piece of paper. And then I will let those ashes, especially if they're about hurtful emotions, I will let them fall into the water. And I will watch the ashes on the surface of the water go away into the distance until I can no longer visually make them out. And I tell myself, as these waters carry away these ashes, they carry away the pain. As these healing waters carry away these ashes, they carry away my strife. It doesn't have to rhyme, although if you're working with deities or the fae or fairies, they do prefer that your words rhyme because it's a little bit more interesting for them. They're more willing to work with you if you write in rhyme or you speak in rhyme and stuff. But you don't necessarily have to. You don't necessarily have to rhyme when you're chanting or when you're writing things out. You just make sure that you're using words that are clear to you, have a clear image in your head. This is my intent. This is my focus. And if you want to give it a little bit extra juice, here's another tip for you. If you want to give your spell work a little bit extra juice, try using a language that you don't use every single day. Try using the Latin forms of the words. Or, easier still, go ahead, Google Translate what you're trying to say into Spanish or French or Italian. Spanish, French, and Italian are the 3 love languages. They're the 3 Latin languages. There's also a few other ones like Portuguese, but primarily it's Spanish, French, and Italian. Google Translate it into Spanish or French or Italian. Then use that as the signifying line or the word or phrase that you're going to chant over and over again as you're drawing in this energy, as you're building up this magic. That's a really good tip. You can also use Old English and flowery language to kind of bolster it, but don't get lost in the whole, it has to be elegant and it has to sound like it comes out of ye old fancy fairy tale. The point is, use these and thous, yons and doffs, whenever you feel like you need to, or whenever you feel like this is adding to the magic. Another quick tip is going with the sun, going clockwise, is called DEOSIL, or of the sun, DEOSIL. It's all one word, but it breaks down to DEOSIL, which stands for of or with the sun. To go clockwise is DEOSIL, and that's manifesting or drawing in or infusing with energy. And then to release that energy, to break that energy, or to banish something is called WINDERSHINS. You're going counterclockwise or against the sun. WINDERSHINS. Another little tip, you can use that later on. Back to intentions. So let's say that it's your birthday and there's a cake in front of you and a bunch of people are singing. You make a wish and then you blow out the candle. You're making a wish, you're setting an intention. Here's another way that you're already working with intentions. You have a few things that you need to accomplish either today or this week. And they're starting to build up, so you write them down. You write them down in a to-do list. A to-do list is a list of intentions. A to-do list, when you're like, hey, these are goals I need to accomplish. These are things I need to obtain. These are places I need to go. These are people I need to speak with. That is setting intentions. And then as you complete your intentions, you check them off or you scratch them out. So intention is a very important thing when it comes to witchcraft. If you're trying to call in fortune or wealth, you might do different things like arranging different items in your house according to the practices of feng shui to attract abundance into your home. That's intention. You might keep a yellow or orange citrine gem in your pocket if you're going to a job interview, because you know that a yellow or orange citrine stone will help provide the luck needed to obtain this position, to obtain this job opportunity. That's setting an intention. If you're intending on selling your home sometime soon, selling property that you have, you might take a St. Christopher statue that you can get in a lot of different places. Sometimes they'll have them at churches, or you can order them online. A St. Christopher statue. You might take that St. Christopher statue, dig a small hole, place them in the hole upside down at the furthest part of your property line, directly in a path to your front door, and you might cover them back up. If you're trying to sell your home, that might be some kind of work that you are doing with intention. Likewise, earlier this week, I had recorded the most vicious, most nasty, most horrendous hex or maleficent spell that I know of. Please use this with caution.
Here's another tip when it comes to intention. Let's say that there's somebody that you don't like. Somebody who's wronged you, someone who's utterly insulted you for being who you are. Now let's say that you have a picture of them, one that you got off of Facebook and you printed out on paper. Or you got some other likeness of them, a clay doll that you made that looks like them, even a doll made out of rags. Or you have a lock of their hair, a few of their fingernail or toenail clippings. Now let's say that you have a glass jar. Now let's say that in that glass jar you put their likeness, their photograph, those nail clippings, that hair. Now let's say that you also place in that jar some fish hooks, or some broken glass, or some rusty nails. Now let's say that you put the lid back on that jar and you screw it on tight and you think about them. And as you think about them, you scream, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." And then you shake that jar until whatever picture or hair or nails that are inside are all torn to pieces. Wouldn't you say that that's spreading intention?
It is important to note that when you are working with a spell that affects someone else's health, finances, their overall well-being, or their freedom of will, you are dealing with the contract, the law of three. Whatever you do unto others will come back to you threefold. If you are a witch and you do something to affect somebody else, that energy, that intent will come back to you 3 times as greatly. If that person did indeed deserve this, there might be some gray area there. But if you're just doing it to see if it works, or if you're doing it because you don't like the person and they didn't really do anything to deserve it, you are basically digging your own grave. If you do something very nasty to somebody to where it hurts them, it will come back and it will bite you in the bottom. The rule of 3. Whatever you broadcast out there comes back to you threefold. That one's very important to remember. But you can also use that to your advantage. Say that you want something good to happen to somebody and you are consistently going out of your way to help your friends or to help others. Back again to thoughts and prayers are with you. If you're consistently thinking about the betterment and the overall welfare of others, and you are praying and acting that good things happen to them, you're lighting a candle for somebody else, you're lighting a candle for someone else's fortune, good things will start coming your way. If you go around trying to bless others, and you are sincere in trying to bless them, the universe will take notice and you will start finding abundance in your own life. Now, you really shouldn't try to fool anyone. You shouldn't be going around blessing everyone with $100 so that you find $300, because the forces that be can see through your BS. Keep that one in mind. The forces that be can see through your BS. But if you are going out there and sincerely trying to help others, you are very much being the energy that you want to attract. And good things will come to you. If you're going around hurting others and making life difficult for others, it's going to come back and you're going to have difficult times ahead as well. Trying to think of other spells that you can use at any time. We did the how to sell a home spell. We did the hex on dealing with somebody who's really done you wrong. Do not use that one lightly. Oh, let's say that you're trying to create a comfortable environment for guests. Let's say that you have people coming over for movie night or game night, or you're cooking dinner for everyone, or you're throwing together a Halloween party or a potluck, and you want everyone to feel really cozy, really happy in your home. Here are 2 quick tips that you can do to be a little bit of a kitchen witch to make everyone comfortable in your own home. Number 1 would be just to bake some cookies. It doesn't matter if the dough is like straight out of a can, just cut it, put it in the oven, bake them, and then boom, you're done, Pillsbury style. Or if you're making the ingredients from scratch with like a little brown sugar and some like eggs and flour and sugar. It doesn't matter what amount you're putting into it, as long as you're setting the intention. I am making these for my guests. My home is a happy home. People will feel happy, comfortable, and secure here. As long as you are maintaining that you are doing this for others and you are welcoming them into your home, and you're trying to show them that you care for them, baking cookies is a brilliant idea. In fact, realtors and people who are selling their homes, whenever they have a showing, a trick of the trade is they will often bake cookies an hour or a few hours before the showing, before the people show up, because the smell of freshly baked cookies puts people in a calmer state of mind, puts people in a more tranquil state of being, which tends to make them a little bit more agreeable. If you want people to be a little bit more agreeable, make them comfortable. And yeah, they will definitely be a little bit more agreeable to you. Don't use that to manipulate people. Don't use that to hurt people or take advantage of them, but just helpful information. If you're trying to play board games and you want to win, make them drowsy, make them sleepy, and make them happy and like you by making cookies. The other thing that you can do, this is my favorite. This is one that I will do often. You take a pot, right? You take like a regular, like small little kettle pot type thing that you put on top of the stove that you would like put pasta or soup in or something, right? You fill it with about a quart of water, or so it's like this much underneath the lid. Then you take some whole sticks of cinnamon. You can get those in the organic section at a lot of grocery markets, or you could get them at herbalist shops, or if you go to the baked goods aisle, you can find whole sticks of cinnamon. You take about 5 of those, because 5 is a lucky number. Take about 5 sticks of cinnamon. You place them into that pot with that water, and then you take a lemon or an orange. It could be a lemon or an orange. Both work. A lemon would work better in this situation, but an orange will do if you don't have a lemon. You take it and you slice it, not into like wedges, but you slice it to where they're like little round thin sections. You take these slices, these round slices of lemons, you put them in there with your 5 cinnamon sticks, and you begin to slowly boil the water so that the vapor of cinnamon and lemon infuses the house. And you do this shortly before guests are about to arrive, so that they'll be like, oh my God, what smells good? The combined effects of lemon, which lemon is a man-made fruit. Humankind were the ones that cultivated lemons. They weren't natural to this world until humans interbred a few different citrid plants into creating lemons. So that whole adage of when life gives you lemons, that's BS. Mankind created lemons. It's more like when life gives you limes. Limes were around before lemons. I digress. You take the combined effect of the lemon, which is about purity, it's about good health, it's about a level of tart sweetness, and it smells like cleaning solutions. A lot of cleaning solutions will use lemon. And then also the cinnamon from the cinnamon sticks. Cinnamon is a good antihistamine, anti-inflammatory. It also helps you with your digestive tract. In small amounts, cinnamon can help ease a upset stomach. It acts as a bit of an antifungal agent. So you're putting out this steam that smells like clean, safe, medicated, but homey and cheery. And it really does work at creating the right type of environment for your guests to immediately let go of their worries and be happy to be in a home with you. I've done this a few times, and it has worked. So those are two different things that you can do if you're inviting friends over for a special event. Bake cookies about an hour before they come, and then, hey, you have cookies to serve. Or you could do the cinnamon and lemon trick, and that will cause people to immediately relax and surrender. Immediately be like, you know what? It's going to be a good day. You can even trick yourself with that. You can even do that for yourself. If you're having a day where you're just in a bad mood, you can't figure out why, go ahead and boil that pot. Here's another little witchy tip for you. Let's say that you do have a pot that's boiling. Let's say that you're cooking dinner and you're boiling something to either soften noodles or what have you. And you have the problem of the boiling water tends to overfill and overflow the pot. And then it creates kind of a mess. What you can do to keep that boiling water or whatever the liquids are inside from spilling over, take a wooden spoon or a wooden spatula, it's got to be wood. You place it over the top of this pan, over the top of this pot, and that will actually keep the water from boiling over the sides. It's weird, but it works. A wooden stick, often a wooden spoon or a wooden spatula, placed over a boiling pot of water will keep the water from boiling over the edges. How does that work? It breaks the surface tension of the water and it pops the bubbles before they spill over the sides, before everything can continue to rise up over. Going along with intentions, there are different things out there that most people can use to draw things into their life, to manifest things into their life. A Pinterest board or a manifestation board. You use a piece of cardboard or foam board or poster board, and you put different magazine clippings and photographs on there of things that you wish you had or things that you wish you could attain. And you just kind of keep that up somewhere where you can focus on it and view it every day. And you're like, yeah, I really want that. A sweet relationship, a new vehicle, you know what I mean? Abundance, that kind of thing. You know, some really good friends, to be able to go on a trip, to be able to travel, stuff like that. You create a manifestation board, you keep viewing at it, that tricks your mind into yeah, I want that, I should look for that, I deserve that, I need that, that's coming my way. That is setting an intention, telling the universe, hey, bring this to me. You could also do that with Pinterest. You set up a whole bunch of tattoos that you like, being like, I haven't really decided on what tattoo I want, but you keep them there, and then you generally get an idea of this is the style I'm going for. Or it could be clothing, or it could be, different outfits or hairdos and stuff. For me, it's tattoos. What do I want to get next for a tattoo? Intentions are a very important aspect of witchcraft, because it's not just the get the right materials in the right order. It is very much, this is how I want the outcome to be. And then you're working with your own energies, and you're working with the energies of the universe and the energies of those around you. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of Witchy Tips. If you've enjoyed this episode, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you have a certain topic pertaining to witchcraft that you want me to speak about, let me know, again, in the comments down below. You can like this video if you found it entertaining and educational. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you never miss out on future videos. I do videos on ASMR. I'll do videos on witchcraft. I'll do videos on LGBT content every once in a while. Just go ahead and subscribe to Monday through Friday. It would help me out a lot. Other than that, I love you all very much. Enjoy your spooky season, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Bye.